Greetings YouTube. If you don't know, my name is Itchy Braids, and today we're talking about the root chakra, aka your pleasure sensor. Now if you don't know, the root chakra is associated with the color red, and it's tied to the underworld. And when I say underworld, I don't mean like hell. I mean like, you know, your physical underworld. What's close to the word underworld? Underwear. You see, it's the other head, that head down there, the part of your body that the light doesn't see, your private organ. That is considered the underworld. You see, a lot of people hear the word underworld and they immediately think of some place full of darkness. And not to say that that's not real, but on our 3D, three-dimensional level, I'm referring to the bodily autonomy, the place that the light doesn't shine. It's always dark down there. Because we have on clothes, we have it covered up. That is your underworld. That is why the sign of Scorpio, the zodiac sign, is related to the genitals, because Scorpio is also tied to the other world. Now with that being said, this video is really about escaping the root chakra, or better yet, mastering the root chakra, so you can move up all the way to the top of the ladder, so you can reach the ether. Because a lot of people, they get stuck in their root chakra and they become slaves. They become slaves to their own cardinal desires, because that's what the root is basically in control of. All pleasures, desires, such as, you know, lust can be one, greed can be another, things like that. Anything that brings intense pleasure that you do is tied to the root chakra. And this is not me saying that the root chakra is bad. You know, pleasure is a good thing to have, but too much pleasure can lead to some negative side effects. A few being restlessness. Your dopamine centers will become fried over time. Fried to the point to where your brain will reroute and make new connections to the point to where what originally pleasured you won't pleasure you anymore. And that's when you see people, you know, they may start out with a kink or a fetish, but at some point they get to a point to where that doesn't satisfy them anymore, so they continue to roll further and further and further and further into their pleasures and desires. Next thing you know, they're doing some sick, just twisted, demonic stuff that you and I know any regular person shouldn't even get a kick out of, but because they've abused their root, their pleasure center, hence they're at where they are now. And I keep going back to, you know, physical intercourse, that three-letter word, because that is what I'm seeing the most of. That has always sold, but it almost appears like there's always been an agenda to promote it, but like every movie there's a scene with that stuff in it. The movie, and it'll be so unrelated to the movie, it just makes you question, like, why did they even put that in the movie? Well, it's because it sells. In people's mind, they go to sleep, and you may not be thinking about it, but your subconscious is, because let's be real, that is a very sacred act that nobody should be looking at. Unless you're actually engaging in that act, you should not be watching other people do that. Which leads to my next point, because I hear all the people, you know, they talk about NoFap. And if you aren't familiar with NoFap, that simply means not, you know, not engaging in self-pleasures, whether that's watching adulterated sites, whether that's going to the strip club, whether that's anything to where you can get, you know, that self-pleasure down in the underworld. That's what I'm referring to. And the system is pushing a lot of false information right now, one being that abstaining from self-pleasure does nothing, which is not true. There are a lot of scientific studies coming out, and this, I'm just speaking for men right now. This has effects on women too, and we can talk about those. But just one being for men, you know, when you engage in that self-pleasure in your underworld, your testosterone drops, prolactin goes up. That's not a good thing to have in your body. It makes you weaker. Like, it physically makes you weaker for 6 hours, up to 6 hours. It could be longer, it could be less, depending on the individual. But they found on average, when you engage in those activities, you physically become weaker. And the more you do it, Think about it. Probably the lower your testosterone goes, the weaker you become. And that's why, like, all the great warriors, you can look this up for yourself. Mike Tyson was one of them. Muhammad Ali, I'm pretty sure he was another one. The Greek and Roman soldiers, they participated in this, and a lot of the ancient cultures, they knew about this. A lot of soldiers would wait till after war to go sleep with their women, because they knew if they slept with their women before they went into the battlefield or engaged in self-pleasure, they would go onto the battlefield weaker. They would not have as sharp as a mind, because that's another thing. When you engage in those activities, you know, that sharpness that you have, it dulls a little bit. And the further you go into those degenerate acts, the further your mind dulls. You lose that sharpened sense that you have. Another scientific fact tied to this, the more you engage in those activities, the more you lose natural immunity. This is a fact. You have, I'm just speaking for the male seed. I'm sure when the female reaches that state to where they release their fluids or their liquid, you're releasing stuff in your body. And I know for a fact in the men's seed, not only do you have zinc, which zinc is good for fighting all diseases, just about is good for immunity, but you're also releasing calcium and other essential vitamins in the body. Now that may not be a lot, but if you are a person that's, you know, abusing your root chakra, you're making yourself sick. Really you're shortening your own lifespan and you don't even realize it. Now, this sounds bad. I'm making the root chakra sound like it's a bad thing, but now I'm about to show you how to harness the powers of the root and how to avoid becoming a slave to your root chakra, because that's really what this video is about. So the big one would just be avoiding looking at content that will trigger lust in your body and mind. That's a big one, because everywhere, it don't matter whether it's the music, you know, the media, the video entertainment industry, that's one thing that will always sell, and it always has. So they will continue to put that in your face in order to make money. So if you are weak in the flesh, I would go on a social detox. Just step away from your phone, put it down, go on a nature walk, and until your mind can rewire itself and, you know, beat those addictions. And now I'm speaking for the people that's not addicted, because I've heard people say, well, if you watch that type of stuff sometimes, but not all the time, it should be okay, right? Everything's okay in moderation, right? Well, no, that is not true when it comes to that, simply because we got to fall back to what I said earlier. That is a sacred act. That is the most sacred act two people can do. And not to mention that they're doing it wrong. And I'm going to touch up on that at the end of the video. That's the big part of the video. But like I said, if you want to engage in that, you should find a partner. You should not be watching. It's nothing entertaining about watching and I'm going to be real for a second. It's nothing entertaining about watching a man put himself in another woman. Just say it out loud. Every time you think about watching that stuff, just say it out loud in your head. You finna go watch another man put his thing in another woman that you want to be with. And I can't say I'm innocent. We've all seen that type of content. We've all grown up, boys and girls. Let's be real for a second. We have, but it's not good. And I'm here to teach y'all how to shed this, how to get rid of this. Because once you get rid of this, because your root chakra probably blocked if you're dealing with this issue. Once you unblock that, oh man, you got a lot in store. But I want to touch up on the partner thing too, because I'm sure we're living in a lonely epidemic right now. And it's a lot of people saying, well, how am I supposed to find a partner? I can't find a partner. Well, one, if you are, you know, watching that stuff that I just said you shouldn't be watching, it's affecting your confidence and your psyche. Like, watching stuff like that is truly rewiring your brain and making you antisocial, and it's really making you feel like I don't need to go find another human because I got this screen in front of me. This screen pleasures me. You may not think like that, but your brain subconsciously thinks that way. So when you out in real life, you might get nervous, you might get scared to go talk to the opposite sex or whatever you like. I don't know what you like. You might be scared of that because, you know, in your subconscious mind, your phone is your partner. Interacting with a human, that's outside of the ordinary, because You've rewired yourself the wrong way. You see, they use our pleasures to deter us from greatness. Because the more you spill of your seed, whether you're a male or a female, the further away you get from greatness, because you lose all motivation. And I'm being real for a second. After you do that, what you do, you lay down, you tired. You don't want to do nothing. You want to lay around all day after you do that act. Let's be real. That's how it is. But there is a way to do that and not be tired. And that's the end of this video. This is the secret that I'm about to tell all of y'all. And this is how to awaken the Kundalini fire within the body. The fire that Hermes stole to enlighten man, that sacred fire that lives within all of us. I'm finna teach y'all how to activate it. So first you need a partner, because this is a two-person activity. You need a partner. You can't do it by yourself. Next, you engage in, this sacred act we've been talking about. You bring your underworld with that person's underworld. Now, from what I've read, the ancient scriptures, they say that this works the best with two hetero people, meaning male and female. Now, I'm not sure, because I've never experienced homosexual love, because I'm straight. No offense to people like that. But I'm just telling you, apparently, from the scriptures that I've read, and multiple cultures talk about this, it's best, if you want to unlock this fire, to engage. It has to be a boy and a girl. It doesn't have to be, but that's the most efficient way to bring this energy I'm talking about. Now that you're here and you have your partner, all you do the normal act, but you reframe from reaching, releasing the liquids. You do not release the liquid. Right before you feel like that liquid's about to, you don't. You hold it in. And I don't mean you physically hold it in, because that can lead to, problems down there. I mean, you stop. You stop before you even get too close to the point to where you have to physically hold it in. You should be to the point to where you saying, oh man, this feels really good. And then you stop right there, and you'll notice something. It's the weirdest sensation ever, but you'll feel like energy just shot all the way from your underworld all the way to the top of your head. Basically, the energy down there in that head came to this head. And that is how you unlock the Kundalini fire. If you want me to go further into this video, I can. Just leave a comment. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. But peace for now. That's the root chakra. But then I'm going to throw this fun fact, because Scorpio and Aries are different signs, but they share the same planet. Scorpio is just a higher octave of the sign Aries. The part of the body that Aries rules is the head. The part that Scorpio rules is your other head, the head down there. With that being said, that's just dualism being displayed right in your face, and you'll see everything in nature ties back to dualism.